Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that snowboard?
Sir, shredding this floor.
So a few days ago, Microsoft confirmed that the multiplayer of Halo Infinite is going to be completely free to play. Now, I have plenty of thoughts about this. Granted, I hate 343 Halo games, so my opinions probably don't matter. Regardless, I am a bit curious as to what this free multiplayer is going to do for, the price of the overall game and the business model. I mean, allegedly it's not going to have microtransactions, which seems a little too good to be true for a free multiplayer, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see there, or at least no loot boxes. Anyways, the point is Halo Infinite's multiplayer is going to be free to play, and people still found ways to be mad about that, because it's Twitter, and the universe is horrible, and I hate everything. Oh, so no wonder it looks like shit. The budget for visuals went to microtransactions and free to play. Well, microtransactions, that's yet to be seen. Again, they said there's no loot boxes, but the actual business model is, we'll wait and see. And free to play, I'm pretty sure you don't put money towards a free to play game. It's kind of the opposite. But as for the game looking the way it does, and I've made it pretty clear that I'm not really a fan of this game's graphics. I'll put a link down below to that video if you want to watch that one. It's largely because the game needs to launch on the Xbox Series X and the Xbone, while also maintaining 60 FPS target on the lower console. Yo, Microsoft, that was a bad call. That was a really bad call. I understand the whole notion of wanting to let everyone play the game on every console, but when you also promote this new console as the strongest thing ever and then use this game as the killer app, it's just not a good look. But back to this tweet. The multiplayer being free to play has nothing to do with the game looking like shit. Apex Legends, Warzone, Paladins, there's plenty of really visually appealing games out there that are free to play. It literally has nothing to do with that. So that's why the graphics are like Minecraft. Makes sense. You needed to low graphics for more FPS. I mean, not really. You know how a modern day PC can crank frames really easily on a game that came out on an older platform, regardless of whether or not those games were demanding the day they came out? That's kind of the situation here too. This game needs to run at 60 FPS on the Xbone. I would imagine it's not going to be that hard for the Series X to get it up to 120. Again, I think the idea to put this game on the Xbone at all was a bad move. It seems like every problem people have with Halo Infinite so far directly correlates to the game having to run at 60 FPS on a horribly underpowered console. But also, not to be a nitpicky PC asshole here, graphics don't necessarily have to be lowered in order for frame rates to be higher. Doom Eternal is a very recent, very visually appealing game that was optimized fantastically. I have a GTX 1070 and I was able to run that game at max settings at around 70 FPS. Meanwhile, Warzone on low settings hovers around 80. Haha, I just said something nice about Warzone a minute ago and now I'm saying something bad about it. This is the kind of dynamic thinking that gets me the big bucks. Donate with the link in the description. Looking at the specs for the Xbox Series X, I have no doubt that Microsoft could get it running at above 60 FPS while increasing the graphical fidelity. But, like I said, the game also needs to look the same on the Xbone and the Series X, or as close to same as they can, while also running at 60 FPS on the system from 2013. I really think it was a bad call to put this game on the Xbone at all. Or at least outsource the port to a third party and let 343 go crazy with the Series X hardware. Sick, but please no controllers on PC. Oh, get over it. Look, I've done my fair share of bitching about controllers and aim assist on PC. We've all done it, but seriously, just get over it, for real. If you ask me, strong-ass aim assist will put a good controller player on par with a good mouse and keyboard player, not better. Controller and MKB have their own benefits. Controllers are much stronger at close range with automatic weapons. MKB is much better for movement, flicking, and long-range engagements. Player strengths. Get good. Quit bitching. So sad to see that visual fidelity has been sacrificed for frame rate at Xbox. Really not my style. I prefer a next-gen looking 30 FPS game than a previous gen looking 240 FPS one. But that's just my opinion, I guess. I love when you can read someone's tweet and just immediately know they've never seen frame rates higher than 60. People who say they prefer 30 FPS over 240, I literally don't care what your reasoning is. I will never believe you're being honest with that. The only people who say stuff like this are people who've never actually seen frame rates higher than 60. It's so objectively better and smoother and just, I can totally understand the desire for better graphics while sacrificing frame rate. And I totally understand the reverse of that, which is a dynamic that's part of the reason why I love PC gaming so much. Because different games have different priorities for me. Some games I like better graphics, some games I like higher frames. But a collective statement of 30 FPS over 240? No. Except for PlayStation fanboys. Yeah, God forbid we stop gatekeeping in 2020. That's just, you can't have that. No, we can't have that. Holy shit, did you hear that? Jesus. I don't care about any of that. I just want the ability to betray my teammates. I had a lot of giggles in Halo 3 and Reach when I betrayed them for their weapon. When make it so that we aren't what the fuck? When make it so that we aren't unable to betray them, you make the game that much less realistic, thanks.
Ventura! Yes, Satan?
Do I miss betraying my friends in Halo? Yeah, a little bit. Do I want universal team betraying back in 2020 in a free-to-play game? Fucking absolutely fucking not. Some things were removed for a reason. If you want to have team killing and SWAT, then yeah, sure, throw it in there as long as you have a punish option, like Halo Reach. But in standard multiplayer, no. Team killing either needs to stay out, or you should have the option to kick someone right after a single TK. It's not 2010 anymore. If you put team killing in a free-to-play Halo game, you're gonna regret it. That's still not a valid point. Barely played MW2 was more of a Battlefield Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 player.
But what does that have to do with anything?
No. He's got a point.
Oh fuck, that's bad LMFAO. Wait, hang on, I need to look at the original tweet again. Halo is for everyone. We can confirm Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and will support 120 FPS in the Xbox Series X. More detail will be shared later. Oh fuck, that's bad. I really don't get it sometimes. I feel like there's just huge parts of me that are gone from making videos like this. Anyways, a free-to-play Halo multiplayer, no loot boxes, brand new Forge, so where's the point in buying the game? Just for campaign for $60? Honestly, this is a good point. Is the game going to be $60 just for the campaign? Will the campaign be longer for that? I know it's going to be open world, but I mean, so was Gears 5, and that game took me like 6 hours to finish. The game being open world doesn't automatically mean the game is going to be longer or more substantial. Is there going to be an extra mode like Firefight or Forge in the base game to make up for the rest of the cost? I mean, Microsoft has to make the money somewhere. If the multiplayer is free with minimal microtransactions, which I don't believe for a second anyways, where's the money coming from? If the base game is campaign only, I would expect a price drop, but if there aren't any big microtransactions in the multiplayer, where's the money coming from? I said this in a video like a year ago, but I feel like Microsoft have kind of backed themselves into a corner here. They really, really want to be the super pro-consumer AAA company, and they've done that. But now they've gone so far in that direction that it seems like it's just not going to be sustainable. I mean, people have been waiting 5 years for a new Halo game, and they're going to make the biggest selling point of that game free to play. And then if you want the whole game, you can either pay full price or just get Game Pass, which is cheap as hell. And there's gonna be minimal microtransactions? Like, I don't know. Someone's not being honest with us. That's all I'm saying. Will it support 30 frames per second that actually looks cinematic and doesn't look like cheap and cheesy garbage? Think of how much better you can make the game without rendering 90 unnecessary frames a second. Yeah, those 90 extra frames are just unnecessary. Just fucking get rid of them. Just take a knife out and cut off those unnecessary frames. Jesus Christ. This is why consoles need graphical options. Or just stop playing on console and get a PC. I mean, if you want to cut off unnecessary frames, the PC version of Halo Infinite will literally let you do that. But you know, there I go being a PC elitist again. Sorry, Jesus. Looks better than your engine shit. I mean, goddamn. He's got a point. You delivered. Wait a minute. Question is the 120 FPS in garbage 1080p or an actual playable resolution, namely anything above 1440p? If it's only 1080p, then honestly this 120 FPS Xbox is touting as shite. I can play 144 FPS 1440p on my PC in all shooters easily, and that's less powerful on paper than Series X. Jesus Christ, in what universe is 1080p 120 FPS unplayable? especially for consoles. The modern consoles can't even handle 1080p 60, and here you are poo-pooing 1080p 120? People have no idea what they're talking about, I swear. Like, I understand people that have their preferences with resolutions and frame rates and whatnot, but I totally get that. But then there's people like this that I just can't wrap my head around. The consoles haven't even mastered 1080p 60. But tell me more about how 1080p 120 is unplayable. And your PC is less powerful than the Series X but gets 1440p 144. Yet your PC also has graphical settings that you can change to get that frame rate. The console doesn't have that. Another reason why they should have them. I don't doubt you can hit 144 FPS on low settings, but console gamers don't have that option. 1080p 120 is a huge step up for them. Jeez, I'm taking shots at everybody today. I'm burning every possible bridge. Let's keep going. Free-to-play multiplayer in a competitive game like Halo ain't it, Chief. Well, I mean, Counter-Strike would like to have a word, and Valorant, and Dota, and League of Legends, and Apex Legends. Okay, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm done. I can't do this.